Hi, welcome to this webinar about LinkedIn, generating leads on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's the new business power tool and highly powerful to be using for every business, whether your clients are on LinkedIn or not. So I'm LinkedIn. I'm Jo Saunders. I'm a LinkedIn specialist. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, teaching people how to use LinkedIn in their business. I produced a book, Get Good or Get Off, a guide to getting it right on social media, which is all about social media strategy, including LinkedIn, and we have an online program to go with the book. But LinkedIn is a platform I specialize in and known for. And like I said, it's a very powerful tool, and I love helping people demystify LinkedIn and how you can use it for your business. So if you've got to think about LinkedIn in terms of, firstly, what do you want to be known for? And then secondly, what do your ideal clients search for? And hopefully the two intersect and you're using the right keywords and phrases on your profile in order to be found. Because you want to stand out, particularly if you're in a very competitive space. So LinkedIn is the largest professional social network with over 610 million users around the world, 10 million in Australia. So of the user base, 44% use it monthly, 40% of those use it daily. And one of the largest demographics that are growing are millennials. In the marketing space, 94% of content creators in the B2B space are using LinkedIn to distribute their content, so it's quite powerful. It's a search engine. It's great for you building your personal brand. It's the largest professional network. It's a content source. It's a talent source, and jobs, companies, everything is there. And of the users, in terms of engagement, each year engagement grows 60% on the previous year. So it's certainly growing, and membership base is still growing at 2 new members per second. So it's certainly worth paying attention to. Now, how you can use LinkedIn, it depends on where you are in your journey, but these are the 5 essential reasons to use LinkedIn. Now, this is a framework from our book, Get Good or Get Off, which we apply to every platform. But in this case, we'll talk about LinkedIn. So you could be using LinkedIn as a business tool. So you might be using it to find people, to research, to find information. So at this stage, you're going to be a consumer of content, a consumer of information. Stepping up, you might be building a presence. So this is where you've got an account, you've added some keywords and phrases, you put in a bit of information, and your activities are going to be about curation, finding content, curating content, maybe sharing other people's content. Then we're going up a notch to building a profile. And by that, I mean building your profile as an expert in what you do. So you want to be known, you want to be that go-to expert, that thought leader, whatever the term you use. And at that point, you're going to be creating your own content because it's about creating your own voice. Above that, we've got opportunities. So if you're looking to find strategic partners, are you looking for speaking opportunities, travel opportunities, partnerships, collaborations? And at that point, you're going to be engaging. So you need to be engaging with your network in order to find those opportunities. And finally, at the very top are leads. This is where the conversions happen. So this is where you're going to be either attracting leads or finding leads. But what the mistake people make is trying to jump from business tools to leads. And you've probably seen those people that they've sent you a connection request, and the first thing that they do once you've accepted is they send you that sales message trying to sell you their latest thing. That's not what LinkedIn's about. Sales are an outcome of good business relationships, and you have to go through the steps. It's a slower process. It's a longer process. It's not a quick fix. So why would you use LinkedIn? So depending on what you do, I mean, this is what one of my clients achieved. Within 14 days, he landed 16 grand of additional business from the strategies that we put together. Now, this is not a sort of sales pitchy strategy. I'm just talking about optimizing a profile, using the right words and phrases, and just having a presence. So it's achievable if your audience are there. So think about your profile right now. Does it represent your value? So the value you bring to your clients. Does it share your vision and where you're going and what you want to, the difference you want to make in the world? Does it showcase your talents and expertise and what you've achieved in the past for your clients or in the roles that you've had? Does it establish your credibility through your testimonials, recommendations, and what you've done? And finally, does it show up in search because you want to be found? So because if you're not going to be found, you're not going to have the visibility, which won't give you the influence and authority to be the expert in your field. So if you think about where people are searching, some people are searching in LinkedIn who are users, but if they're not searching in LinkedIn, they're definitely searching in Google. Now, LinkedIn is one of the top sites that Google crawls, which is why it shows up in search, whether you're using it or not. So if you do a bit of a search for your name, your company name, or what you do, have a look at what shows up firstly and where LinkedIn shows up. So start with your name, because obviously your name is your name. In my situation, my LinkedIn profile can outrank my website often, but you want to essentially dominate the first page of Google with all your different assets, your websites, your social media, external places you've been published. But LinkedIn is a great part of that. And this is the importance of having an optimized profile, because if it does show up in the first page or the top 3, when people click on it, does your profile communicate what you do? Does it showcase the value? Is it a representation of you now? Are you recognizable? So have a think about that, and we'll go through some of those things. So your first bit of homework is to Google yourself, but you want to do what's called an incognito search, because when you search on Google or whatever browser you're using, it's trying to help you. It knows your history, it knows your location, it knows your habits. So it's going to give you results that help you. But if you're trying to do an unbiased search, you want to do what's called open an incognito window, which removes all those things. So it's going to remove your location, your browsing history, cookies, that sort of thing. And that way you can then see what's really out there. So we understand that LinkedIn is indexed by Google. There's a lot of users out there using LinkedIn, a lot of users obviously on Google. But in terms of Australian small business, only 23% are using LinkedIn as part of their social media presence. So if you don't have a LinkedIn presence for your company, then you're missing out. Now, in terms of a business presence can be a page, but also profiles. So if you are a team of people, maybe your staff have profiles, but you just haven't leveraged them. So it's having an approach to leverage your team. But as an individual, definitely having a presence is important. So the 3 parts of your LinkedIn presence you can create are your profile, which is where the value is, the page for the company, and whether you're a business of 1 or a business of 50,000, it doesn't matter. A page still has a place. It's indexed by Google, it's free, and it allows for branding on your profile. And then, of course, we've got groups. Now, groups don't have a great deal of value at the moment. It's difficult to get engagement in groups, but they do have a place. So it's finding the right groups might help you find the right people. You've also got the ability to add events. Now, that's a brand new feature. I'm a beta tester at the moment, so it is rolling out. You've got content in the home feed from your connections that you're following and companies. And of course, it's a database of people, of talent, of content, of companies, so much. But the value is in your profile. That's where you want to be spending most of your time, focusing on your voice, your position, and your relationships with people. So how do you master LinkedIn? Well, here's 4 types of activity you want to focus on. You want to be building your character. This is what you're optimizing your profile, making sure it's up to date, it's branded, it's got the right keywords and phrases. You want to be building a network of connections. So who are you going to connect to? How are you going to connect to them? How will you decide who they are? Then you want to be engaging in content. So whether you're creating your content, curating content, or engaging with other people's content, this will allow you to build that expertise, that thought leadership, and so people know who you are, so you can build that profile. And then finally, the other type of activity is community activity. And this is the engagement piece, engaging with your network, engaging with the right people, so you can build those relationships. So think about your profile. Does it pass the scroll test? Does your headline sell your value? Because your headline is the number 1 piece of content that positions you, that communicates who you are. Because you want your headline then to inspire people to click on your profile and see the rest of it. So in terms of your profile, these are the 5 key areas you want to be focusing on optimizing. So the visual components, which is your profile photo and your brand image as the background image. So make sure your profile's up to date, looks like you, is just you and just you in business. And a profile with a profile photo is 21 times more likely to be clicked on than one that doesn't. Secondly, you've got the copy. So the text you're using, the words you're using. So think about the keywords and phrases that are going to be used by your ideal clients to find you. So make sure your headline positions you well, and you've got the right keywords and phrases in there. Your summary is your introduction to who you are, to tell your story. And then your experience section shares the individual roles that you have. Now, when you show up in search, you'll notice next to your name, your title, and that title comes from, not your headline in this case, from your experience section down the very bottom. So you want to make sure your title and experience uses keywords and phrases. So don't use director, consultant, those vague titles that don't explain your value. So your headline shows up in LinkedIn, your experience, your title shows up in Google search. Then we've got the third one is media. So creating a bit of a showcase of your work, showcase of where you've come up, video introductions, could be brochures, PDF brochures. This all shows up here. And you can also attach it to your experience as well. Number 4 is social proof. So think about the skills you have listed in your profile that you can be endorsed for. Think about recommendations. Who can you ask for recommendations if you don't have many? And then the extra accomplishments you can add to your profile as well. This adds that element of social proof to your profile. And finally, number 5 is activity. Activity will be activated on your profile as soon as you like or comment on someone else's content, when you post content, and of course when you publish articles, which show up here. So you've got articles to the left, activity to the right, and you can click on see all and navigate to all your past posts and your engagement with people. So you want to make sure that you're curating, creating, and engaging with the right type of content for your brand. So they're the 5 areas of LinkedIn. The other one to think about is contact info, making sure that's up to date, because you want to make sure people can get in touch with you easily. Now, if you want some help with your profile, I do offer profile review services. I also have created, and I offer full profile rewrites and rebrands, but you might just want to do your own audit process. So I've got an online course, which is just $29, and you can work through the process yourself. The other piece of LinkedIn, like I said, outside of your profile, is building your network of connections. So often I get asked, who should you connect to? You want to think about who your ideal clients, who are the influencers of those people, and who else can you connect to? Because the way LinkedIn works is if you share an update on your profile, your network of connections, your first level connections may see that depending on the algorithm. If they engage with that piece of content, liking or commenting, they're essentially exposing your content to their network, to their first level connections. So their first level connections are your second level connections. If those people engage with your updates, they're exposing it to their network, who are 3 degrees away now. So that's the power of LinkedIn. You've got the ability to reach people beyond your first level connections. And that's why it's important to connect to the right people. So think about the people who are not just your ideal clients, but who are the influencers in your space. Colleagues, even friends and family might have your connections. Suppliers, talent, so who people you'd like to employ down the track. Mentors, mentees. I mean, this is just a cross-section of types of people. There are probably many, many more. So how do you find them? Well, you can sit back and wait for them to connect to you. That's one strategy. But then you can outreach people and find them. So using advanced search techniques to really hyper-target the right people. So if we use what's called Boolean search plus the filters in LinkedIn, you can get really targeted in terms of finding those people. Now, going back to the beginning, who are your ideal clients and what problem do you solve? So find those people. So if you know the criteria, so in this case, we've done a search we were looking for women in wellness, and we've used the word I help, because often people might put the word I help in their profile. So you can see here under the headline, it's got I help women, and wellness will be in here as well. So we've got 13,000 people that have come up for this advanced search, which is a lot of people. Now we want to apply filters to narrow it down. So we've added second level of connections. So we've got someone in common, and they are located in Auckland, New Zealand. Now we've got 11 people in these results, which is not many, but the smaller the better in terms of managing. So now I can actually click on all these profiles. I can look at their profile, leave a footprint behind. I can do a bit of research on who they are, what they do, what's something about them, and then I can connect to them with purpose now and mention something. I can mention the people in common. I can ask some questions rather than just blanket sort of connecting to people. So think about in your industry, who can you connect to? How can you hyper target people? Come up with some segments of people. Then what about organizations and companies? So for instance, if I wanted to target law firms in Canberra, maybe I was going to be going there to deliver some LinkedIn training, I can do a search, find a short list of those companies, click on the company. So there's one law firm here. I've clicked on their page. I can see that they're active. I can see by their content it's up to date. So I can find out a little bit about them. What are they talking about? What are they interested in? I can then click on their employees and find out, well, who works there. And then I can look through and see, of the employees, who do we have people in common? So this person's got 4 shared connections. I can click on her profile, find out a little bit about her, see if she's active on LinkedIn, what she's talking about, and then send her a connection request, asking her questions. Not selling, because you don't want to just go in first and sell. Make it about them first, and then tell them that you're, maybe delivering something in Canberra, or invite them to something, but don't go into sales mode. So to sum it up, in terms of how you can use LinkedIn to generate leads, understanding who your ideal clients are, what do they look like, and search for them. So having those criteria, and you might have different groups of people. So the more targeted you can be in your searches, the better. So shortlist those people. Maybe you've got 10 or 20 people on that list. You're going to view their profiles, find out a bit about them. If you're going to look at either follow their profile and follow their company page if they've got one, because that way you're almost subscribing to them. You're going to get their information in your home feed. You might like or comment on one of their updates, and this is a process you might repeat a few times before you connect. They may even connect to you. Then at some point you're going to connect to them with conversation, so you can reference something about their organisation, something they've achieved, something they've shared. And then if they accept you, they're either going to respond to your message, and if they don't, send them a welcome message. Now, this is not a sales pitch, once again. It's a conversation starter. It's a relationship builder. And you can script these. So you can have various templated type messages you might want to use. You might just store them in a Word document and do a good old copy and paste. And then once you're connected, you're going to start seeing them in your newsfeed if they're active. And to tell LinkedIn and the algorithm that you're actually interested in the person, and also to let the person know you're interested in them, engage with their activity. So whether you see it in the home feed or whether you have to then go back to their profile, look at their articles and activity and engage there, and pick a piece to engage with. And this is something you might repeat a few times as well. So this is in public. And then you might have a reason to connect with them privately. So send them a private message about something. And then the goal is to get that meeting, whether it's a Zoom call, a Skype call, a phone call, or a meeting face-to-face. So that's the process. Now, the process might take, it might take a couple of weeks, it might take a few months. And some of these steps you're going to be repeating, but you'll know for your audience what that needs to look like and what kind of things you can do. And it also depends on how active and engaged they are on LinkedIn. Now, if you find someone's not active and engaged on LinkedIn, this is where you might go to other platforms to source that information. Continue to connect on LinkedIn, but you might reference something on their Facebook page or their website. So that's how to build relationships and build business and generate leads, which can convert. But it's about talking with your audience, not at them. So as I said before, it's not about sending them a sales pitch, but it's also not talking at them either. So how do you talk with your audience? Well, you've got your home feed where you see the content you're subscribed to. I mean, of course, you can go to the profiles and find stuff on their profile where you can engage with them. But the other way of making sure you're talking with your audience is looking at your notifications and your messages and responding to things. And then, of course, having that top 20 ideal connections list, or top 10, or maybe it's 5 over 3 different industries, whatever it is, and make sure you're engaging with those people so you're talking with them. So if you'd like to seek some help, I do have a 7-day LinkedIn challenge, which is completely free to join, and you'll find it on my LinkedIn profile. In fact, if you scroll down to my experience section, you'll see a role for it. It's also in my website links under contact info as well. And part of that, you'll get my LinkedIn profile blueprint, and you'll get some guidance in terms of what you can do. But as I said before, your homework is to Google yourself, audit yourself, make some adjustments, and then activate your own strategy so that you can start using LinkedIn. Now, if you're an Australian small business, which means you're under 20 staff, you have an ABN, and you're located in Australia, you might be able to access me through this program. It's a government subsidised program it's called the Australian Small Business Advisory Service, ASBAS. And Business Station have the contract, so I'm one of their advisors. So I run workshops, face-to-face workshops in and around Perth. I run webinars. I also am available for one-to-one advisory, and that can be face-to-face in certain times and locations, and also via Zoom. And we can talk about all these different topics, but particularly LinkedIn. Now, the cost, and this is the no-brainer price for small business. The workshops are less than $20 per workshop, but the one-to-one advisory is $40 per hour. So that's an amazing savings. You get access to me for $40 an hour. It's all subsidized. And the first session is $20. So to access me through this program, you go to businessstation.com.au and register. I do have a video to walk you through the steps to register, because there are a few steps to get on the program to access me. So if you need help, let me know. But it's a fantastic service and means you can get help whenever you need it. And there are other experts on the program that you can access too. So feel free to connect to me. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch. But I'd love to help you with LinkedIn. I love helping people demystify LinkedIn and see how you can use it for your business, for your career, whether it's finding leads, finding a job, or establishing your presence. So hopefully you've got enough from this session to consider LinkedIn for your business and where it fits. Thanks for watching.